This isn't where How did I get here?
I have no fucking idea!
What did I do?
I have no fucking idea! Nope, that's it. Nope. Nope. That's enough of that one. That's a big nope. Hello and welcome to another episode here on Dungeons and Dragons and Things, DnDnThingz as we go by. And I am TreborEHHP, your host and wonderful player of all of the games on Humble Bundle. So as always, we are going to do our Humble Bundle review. If you missed it earlier in the month, we did our blind reactions when they released what games were going to be out this month, and then we do our humble review by the third Thursday of the month. I have all the games played, and this is my review. Just as a reminder, all reviews are subject to my opinions, and may be affected by my likes and dislikes. I do a scale of how playable was the game. Would I buy it? Would I play it again? Was it what I expected, and what were my overall thoughts, which gives it a score out of 25 total, and then that's how we rank our games. Games that have been tied take into consideration what the overall score was, and put it in its kind of personal preference at that point. So to begin at number 12 this month, again, I preface that these are based off of my personal opinions and likes, but Amnesia Rebirth. I know the Amnesia series is popular with a lot of people, but I don't do horror. So, for me, the would I buy, would I play again, and my overall on the game was a 0 out of 5. It's not a game that I personally would buy or play. I do believe that Rosa's probably going to turn it into a Let's Play video at some point, just a one-off Let's Play of what I had played, and see my reactions a little bit. I don't do horror games. I don't do horror anything. Was it playable though? Yeah, the storyline was pretty interesting. What I played of it, I got to the point where I just was too frightened out of my own skin to play again. And was it what I expected? Yeah, it's a horror, a jump scare horror game that's designed to frighten you. So for me, it's a no. I got a 10 out of 15. It's in our last place this month. I apologize to everyone who is a fan of the series. It's just not a game for myself. I am more than willing to take all your hate comments because it is what it is. I don't do horror games. Whoa. Oh, God damn it. Oh, God.
There's something in my eyes.
No. Come on.
What's wrong with me?
Please tell me there's something here that I can light. Oh, God. Disturbing sessions are... Oh, God. Oh, what the... Oh, God. Oh, God. What... So Amnesia unfortunately made the bottom of our list. I think it was a great game to add into the October games because it being spooky season. But for myself, it was not a game for me. which takes us into our number 11 game. At 11, I had Siberia III. Like last month, I think there was another game that was kind of puzzly, story-driven puzzle game. Siberia 3 was a lot of that. The controls were a little wonky. Camera angles were a little off. Figuring out how to get through stuff was a little difficult. So for playability, I got a 3 out of 5 just because of those camera angles and not being super intuitive. Things weren't easy to manipulate that should have been a little easier to manipulate. Would I buy it? Probably not myself. It's not a game that I'd probably suggest to anyone to play or buy. The story was interesting, maybe if I played Siberia 1 and 2, but the mouthing and the voicing was not very in sync and stuff. It did do a good job at playing at what some mental hospitals have been like, so I did enjoy that. When I played again, I gave it a 1 out of 5. It's unlikely. Like I said, the story was really interesting, but the actual playability was not so. Was it what I expected? I gave it a 3 out of 5. I wasn't expecting it to be like a puzzle game. I thought it'd be more of a action-esque kind of game, maybe more like a Tomb Raider puzzle action game, but there was very little action. And so overall, I gave it a 2 out of 5. It was not on the top of my list. It was not one that I'm looking forward to playing it again. It was one that was iffy to begin with, so it got overall a 10 out of 25, so it tied with Amnesia Rebirth, but I absolutely do not like horror games, which is why it kind of edged out a little bit. So that's at our 11th spot, taking us into our number 10 spot. So the top 10 of this month starts us off with Hive Swap Friendism. I have a feeling I might have enjoyed the game a little more had I known anything about like the anime or the comics or the manga or whatever it comes from, but I had no idea. Playability, it wasn't hard to play. It was very text-based. It's almost like a choose your own adventure story. So your decisions kind of have an effect. Is it something that I'd buy? Probably not. I'm not one for hugely text-based decisions. I like action and RPG games. Would I play it again? I'm probably not going to play it again. So I got a 0 out of 5 on that. A 0 out of 5 on would I buy. Was it what I expected? A little bit. It did kind of give that kind of discussion. It did kind of present itself as a game that was like a choose your own adventure storybook just as a video game. So they get a 5 out of 5 on that. And overall I gave it a 1 out of 5. It was interesting. Some of the themes were interesting, but overall the game was just not as enjoyable as I'd like, and I think some of the information provided just was lost on me because I don't know anything about the story overall. So that pretty much sums up Hive Swap Friendism. If you know anything about Hive Swap or any of that, like definitely check it out. You might enjoy it, but it wasn't for me. Which is going to take us to our 9th spot. And then 9th spot, we have Garage, and I apologize, I have to kind of flip through my notes. Garage was kind of interesting. The overall total score was a 12 out of 25. Playability was a 4 out of 5 with both the controller and the keyboard. The controls were finicky and not super understandable, but the graphics and the style were kind of cool to work with. Would I buy it? I gave it 2 out of 5. It was interesting. It might pique my interest if it was in a bundle like Humble Bundle to buy, or like a smaller bundle of like some indie games, but it isn't one that like I'd be throwing on my wish list. Would I play again? I gave it 2 out of 5. It was definitely interesting, but and I may play it again for the story, but the ability to play it was a little difficult, so possibly not. Is it what I expected? I gave it a 3 out of 5. I'm not entirely sure what I expected there. The game's mechanics were a little off. The style was different than what I thought it might be. So it was kind of a zombie-esque game, and I'm not sure where the story was going. So, and then overall, I gave it a 2 to 5. Not quite what I was expecting. Not quite playable as much as I'd like, which made it not one that I don't think I played that as long as I have some of the other games. So it only got a 12 out of 25 total. And so that was our number 9 game, which brings us down into our number 8 game, which is going to be a very interesting game. Number 8 was Texorcist, which, if you watch our review, I was uncertain about to begin with, and there was for good reason. Texorcist was this text-based typing game with the mechanics of having to dodge bullets. So you lose your prayer book or exorcism book, and you have to pick it up. It was amusing. The graphics were fun. So on what I expected, I gave it a 4 out of 5. Sorry, I'm going to jump around a little bit. So playability-wise, was a 3 out of 5. It's very difficult as someone who is trained to type at a young age, because I lived in the era where computers were new and AOL was internet was a thing, and you had to take typing classes and played typing games. So you learn to type with both hands and all fingers instead of just one finger. So having to type and move with different keys that aren't part of my typing just messed with my brain, which kind of reduced its playability. Would I buy it? I gave it a 2 out of 5. I might, again, in a bundle like Humble Bundle, most certainly. Maybe in a typing bundle on its own, it'd have to be really cheap. Play it again, I gave it a 3 out of 5. There's a possibility for me to play it again, because I do enjoy the typing games, and I don't mind typing. It's just, playability-wise, very difficult. What I expected, I gave it a 4 out of 5. For the most part, it's what I expected. I thought there might be some mouse use in there, or some difference in the keys, or a little bit more of typing in different ways. Overall, I got a 3 out of 5. I'm not sure. I can't... Oh, no. 2 out of 5 on overall. 3 out of 5 of what expected. So overall, it was okay, but it had its complications and became difficult to play at times because of having to jump back through moving and typing and avoiding things, and it just didn't play smoothly. And I think it was designed to be difficult, but I think for typing games potentially help someone learn to type better, it was just too difficult. So that was our number 8 game. So it's going to take us to number 9, which surprisingly for me was Tools Up. Tools Up was kind of interesting. It was playable by yourself. It'd be interesting to play with multiple people. It's definitely designed to have multiple people that you can run around and do stuff together with. Playability wise was a 5 out of 5, but it's definitely a play with a controller kind of game. Would I buy it? I give it 1 of 5. It's an interesting concept. It could be a fun party game, multiplayer game, but overall it's not something that I would go to. Would I play it again? I gave it a 1 of 5 unless I had a whole bunch of people to play with and get some of that amusing running into each other, knocking over paints. I don't think I'd play it. I wouldn't play it again by myself. Was it what I expected? It's a goofy party game that you're cleaning or painting or doing something to repair something, and with multiple people you can run into each other and cause things to go bananas while you're trying to get stuff done. So it is what I expected. I've got a 5 out of 5, and my overall was a 2 out of 5, which because it's a party game, it's meant to play with a whole bunch of people and be a little goofy, so it got a 2 out of 5. bringing it to a total of 14 out of 25. So yeah, so that was our number, I believe, 7 spots. Yeah, number 7, which takes us into our number 6 spot. And number 6 was a close tie for 5 and 4. The next 3 games all had the same scores of 16 out of 25. So at number 6, I put John Wick's Hex. And some of that was because I'm shame, haven't seen any of the movies or followed any of that story. I think if I did, I might have enjoyed it a little more. Playability wise was a 5 out of 5. It's kind of an action turn-based point by kind of system. Easy to figure out, easy to learn, not too difficult to get through like the tutorial levels and into the actual game. And it kept you on your toes trying to figure out the situations the best way you can. Would I buy? I gave it 2 out of 5. It's another one that I'd buy. I wouldn't outright buy myself, but if I had a bundle, if I got in a bundle like Humble Bundle or was getting it for real cheap, I might pick it up. But if you are into the John Wick series of things and lore, it's definitely something to check out. Would I play it again? Gave it 2 out of 5. Not something that I follow, not something that I was super into. It's something that I might pick up if I was bored and I had nothing else I wanted to play. So it's got a 2 out of 5 there. What I expected, got a 5 out of 5. It's pretty much a John Wick game. It's kind of comic booky. It's kind of action. I think at one point in time I threw a gun at someone, like I shot someone and then ran out of ammo and threw a gun at someone else. Like, from what I've heard of the John Wick series, that's pretty on par. And then overall, it got a 2 out of 5. It was okay. It was interesting. It wasn't over the moon on things. So overall, it was 2 out of 5. And overall, then total, it's 16 out of 25. Which again, then is tied. Had a tying score. But bringing us into our top 5 then. Starting at number 5, we're looking at Black Future 88. Which kind of played like, if you watched any of last month's stuff, Neon Abyss. Wasn't as fun as Neon Abyss. Neon Abyss had brighter colors and more interesting things that you could pick up. It definitely wanted to play better on the controller. Playability wise was a 5 out of 5. It's definitely a roguelike where you're going through dungeons. The dungeons set up differently each time. You have bosses at the end of each dungeon to defeat, and then you kind of reset after every dungeon to do more dungeons, get upgrades, and go from there. Would I buy it? I gave it a 2 out of 5 on would I buy it. It's not one that would like reach the top of my list, but if it was real cheap with other games, I'd definitely grab it. Play again, 2 out of 5. If I'm playing a game like that, I'd rather go to a game like Neon Abyss. I found that one more interesting and playable than Black Future 55 or 88 is what I expected. I gave it a 4 out of 5. I thought it would be more of a platformer action type of game the way it was presented, but it was more a roguelike dungeon crawler type of game. So I deducted a point because it wasn't quite the style that I thought it would be from advertisements, and then overall it got a 3 out of 5. I enjoyed it. I do like that style of game, but there are games in the same category that I think are better. So overall I got a 16 out of 25, which is going to bring us, so yeah, that's Black Future 88. Which then takes us to our number 4 spot, which is Guts and Glory, which essentially was, if anyone has watched PewDiePie or Jacksepticeye in their older streaming days, it's pretty much Happy Wheels except 3D instead of like a 2D based. It may be, I don't know for certain if it's made by the same people or not, but it's using all the same kind of characters and mechanics, just making it 3D. Playability wise, I gave it 3 out of 5. The controls were really difficult to utilize, whether you use a controller or a keyboard. And I think it's Happy Wheels style. I think they purposely made it difficult to be played, because it makes it amusing sometimes, but because of that, it makes it also less playable for me, because trying to figure out the controls, trying to master those controls, trying to get on, like, they're very touchy, it just makes it difficult. Is it a game that I would buy? Not necessarily. I give it a 2 out of 5. It's another one that kind of falls in the if it's super on sale or in a bundle, I'd grab it. Would I play it again? I gave it 3 out of 5. It was amusing and funny at some points. I think at one point I had one of the characters hit a landmine and go flying across the map. So it's amusing, and if I needed a laugh, I'd probably play it. Is it what I expected? Yeah. When we looked at it on our blind reactions, the first thing I thought was Happy Wheels in 3D, which is what it was. So it got a 5 out of 5 there. And my overall was a 3 out of 5. I think if it was easier to maneuver and do the things it wanted you to do, it would be a lot more fun. And I'm sure if you played it for hours and hours, you would master the controls. The problem is I don't have that time or that patience. So it got a 16 out of 25 as well, which brings us through all of our 3 that kind of had tied up this month, besides our bottom 2. So that's going to lead us into our top 3 games. Our third game, being a little bit of a surprise to myself, because I wasn't expecting much of it, was Ring of Pain. How playable was it? It was 5 out of 5 on playable. It was really easy. You click a card that you want to interact with or skip, and you go through it. It was pretty easy there. Would I buy it? Not necessarily. I gave it a 2 out of 5. It could easily be an app type of game. It would be something. It's not something that's on the top of my list of games I want to grab, but it was definitely interesting, to say the least. Play again, I gave it 3 out of 5. If I want to just click through some stuff and try to figure out, there's definitely a strategy to the game, and picking the right gear and cards and paths is very important. And it had a little bit of a spooky sense to it, so I gave it a 3 out of 5. Wasn't what I expected. I gave it a 5 out of 5. They kind of said it was a different take on a card builder / roguelike game. So it definitely gave what it was saying, and overall I gave it a 3 out of 5. It's a little spooky in the kind of imagery that it used, but not necessarily like one of the games that I'm going to go play all the time or want to stream. Our number 2 game is Katana Zero, which actually kind of surprised me because I wasn't expecting a whole lot out of it. It had a really good story to it. Playability was a 5 out of 5. It definitely was easy. It was a little bit of a puzzle-ish game, which, depending on how it's presented, I do enjoy sometimes. But it was like an action puzzle, but like you had to figure out how to get through things in the right manner. So that I did enjoy. Would I buy it? I gave a 2 out of 5. It wasn't really a game that I'd put on the top of my list to buy. And a 2 out of 5, like I said many times in this episode. If it's in a bundle or really on sale, I would buy. Would I play it again? I gave it a 4 out of 5. The story was very intriguing, and there's some nightmares that you go through, and someone who seems to be a handler that you're working with that I'm not sure if you can trust, and seems to be a lot of different options that you could go and pass by how you talk to that person. And if you talk to people before you kill them in certain spots. Wasn't what I expected. I gave it a 5 out of 5. The style was as presented. The style fit. It was an interesting kind of game. It was something different from what we're playing, and overall 4 out of 5 for the same reasons. Something different than what I had been playing and have been getting, and was surprisingly enjoyable. So I gave it a 4 out of 5. There are some sneak abilities and some need to be quick and slow down time. So overall, it got a 20 out of 25. And I don't think in the last 2 months we've had a game hit that elusive 25 out of 25 spot. We've been close, but we have not quite hit there yet. And this month we did not hit there either. So our number 1 game this month is the 112 operator. If you ever wanted to be a 911 operator or have an idea of what a 911 operator is, 112 operator is for you. Playability wise, I gave it a 5 out of 5. It was pretty straightforward. You get calls or you get notice of incidents and you send the right vehicles and people to take care of it. So you're going to send your ambulances to the people having a heart attack, your firemen to the cats in the trees, and your police officers to deal with that B&E. So playability wise was 5 out of 5. It throws you in real quick. Would I buy it? It's a game that I've seen played before, and I had actually been looking forward to it, and it had been on my wish list. So it got a 4 out of 5. It's not one that I was like absolutely need to have, but it's definitely one that was on my radar. Play again, I gave a 4 out of 5. I'd definitely hop in there and play it again. Might record an episode for a Let's Play just so that people can see how crazy things really are. What I expected was a 5 out of 5. I had seen the game before. Actually playing it seemed like what I had expected from watching playing it, but it gets super crazy super quickly, and it's definitely difficult to manage everything going on, especially when you're running out of individuals to take care of situations, and you've got one ambulance heading to somewhere and now a cop's down, so you got to send an ambulance that way. Overall, I gave it a 4 out of 5, because again, it got, I think if you get one day that's kind of a here's how things go and we're making it easy on you, and then the next day everything goes to hell in a handbasket. So that's pretty much why I gave it a 4 out of 5, because the difficulty ramps up really quickly, which total gives it a 22 out of 25. So that is our opinions of this month's Humble Bundle games, or my opinions at least. If you disagree, please let us know what your thoughts are, and what order you would rank them in. But those are my thoughts and my opinions on the games. If you haven't already, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification so you know when we go live and when we put up new videos, as well as make sure to follow us on all social medias at DnDnThingz with the V at the end. In the meantime, make sure you continue to be a beautiful, unrepeatable miracle, also known as a bum, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.